Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Good afternoon. I am Robert Press, your host. I am an official New York City Police Department reporter. Here is my press card for the New York Chronicle, which the website for the Chronicle was down for a little bit, but we are back up, so you can read my articles on the Bronx Chronicle, supposedly on the Parkchester Times, the New York Parrot. I guess I see I'm going a little slow here with this new background. So let me introduce my co-host, Anthony RIVIECCIO. Go ahead, Anthony. Let's see your background.
Good morning, Robert. How are you? My background is in my wonderful home office, and in back of me are 979 degrees, which one day I'll go over one by one. Hello, everybody. My name is Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO. As most people know, I have 3 lives. My first and predominant life is I am the CEO of a virtual financial advisory firm called RIVIECCIO Financial Advisors. My second life, which I am on summer vacation, thank God, is I am an adjunct personal finance professor for both Herbert H. Lehman College and Monroe College. And my third life, which, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be getting rid of at the end of June, is that I am the founding father of a wonderful political organization here in the Northwest Bronx called Northwest Bronx Democrats, which you could find on Facebook.
Okay, let's go right into the show. We'll get into Bidenomics in a few moments, and we're going to talk about the primary days today. This year, you have not one, but 2 primary days, much like the old times when you had the congressional races in May, and then you had the September primary for state and status races. So now we have, coming up in June 28th, we have the primary for the governor, lieutenant governor, all the statewide elected offices, the assembly, and local political offices, which I'll get into in a moment, as I have the sheets from the Board of Elections, who's running where and who doesn't have a primary.
Bob, I believe this show is going to be both very important today, you're absolutely right, and also maybe for some people very boring, because, everybody legitimately probably isn't even aware that they are confused. They are not in the district they think they're in. The New York City Voters Guide came out yesterday morning. I don't know if you're aware, but they only are covering the top 3 seats in the state of New York because they have so much new information with the assembly lines, the Senate lines, the congressional lines, and because of the lines changing, every district is changed. So now you got new candidates over here, new candidates over there. The Voters Guide can't keep up. So yes. Now you got a Voters Guide that has no local elections in it.
We're going to get into a couple of the races. For instance, the 34th Senate race, where Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez, who wanted to go for the old 34th Senate race, Senate district, which ran from Riverdale to Throgs Neck and up into Pelham, but that district has been cut in half. So Riverdale is now in the 33rd state Senate district, and the 34th Senate district is now an East Side district. So let's go into Bidenomics, Anthony. Discuss Bidenomics, and I'll change my background.
Okay, when you say change your background, I'm not sure what that means. I hope that means you're not going to change your tie. Bad joke. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk Bidenomics for a moment. And I guess the best way to talk to you about Bidenomics is maybe some of you were very privileged to see the Joe Biden economic report this morning. He made a national address based on numbers that came out 9:30 this morning, based on the jobs report. Long story short, before the markets were open this morning at 9:30, the foreign markets, as we know them, or the U.S. pre-markets, were actually having a very good morning. They were up about maybe 0.23%, which led most people, including myself, to believe that based on the jobs report, we're going to have a very good Friday. Not a booming Friday, but a wonderful one. So what happened? The jobs numbers came out. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad I'm saying this on a political show because I guess the best way to describe how the numbers came out is the following. The government estimate was for this amount. The numbers came out and they were at this amount. When you compare that number to prior month's numbers, that number was down here. So Joe Biden felt he had to make a statement, and he did. Let's go over what Joe Biden said really quickly.
Well, wait a minute, Anthony.
Said,
Anthony, doesn't it seem every time he opens his mouth, the market goes down?
Oh, it's going down as we speak, Bob. You know, the Bob Press Index, which we'll talk about on Financial Focus University, live at 5 o'clock, I hope, has a better afternoon, because right now you might need to go get a new pair of pants.
You mean it's losing the 400 points it gained yesterday?
Oh, you're dead, sir. That's done. That is done. So, you know, so what did Joe Biden say? Well, Joe Biden said, and I'm going to paraphrase him. He said, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the best economic condition ever since he's been president. He emphasized 16 months, right, that we've had this economic boom, according to him. When I think, of course, we said on the show, and I said on my show, that in the last 16 months, any gains that you had in your stock portfolio are basically gone. And what were those gains? Those gains were on average about 20 to 30% a year for the last couple of years, depending on what your portfolio was, right? All that is gone, right? So again, Joe Biden wants to sound politically happy, but what happened? He's economically confused. So let's see another one of his statements. He goes, all right, so now we have better jobs. We have better jobs that has better pay, right? And then he says, oh, okay, but the real number one problem is not better jobs, it's not better pay, it's inflation. So how do we kill inflation? Well, it's Putin's fault, right? It's the congressional Republicans' fault, right? It's Donald Trump's fault, right? But I got the answer. I got a two-part answer. Number one, I'm going to allow more government subsidy, right? He didn't use that phrase. What phrase did he use? Oh, I'm going to lower your utilities bill. I'm going to give you free internet, right? Nothing's free, ladies and gentlemen. Your tax dollars, government spending, government subsidies pay for that. But that was his number one thing in regards to trying to solve the inflation problem, right? He talks about gas prices, but guess what? He doesn't do anything about gas, but he will do something about your internet and utility bills, which means government spending will, of course, go up. And then he talks about the federal budget deficit, how it must be lowered, and the combination of these two things will solve our inflation problem. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, it all sounds politically good, but economically crazy, because if you're going to spend money on subsidies, right, to make me feel better so I don't feel inflation, well, then how's the budget deficit going to go down?
Well, Anthony, the state, New York State, the governor and the legislature has declared a tax holiday on the gas tax in New York, which means 18 cents a gallon less. However, when I look at the prices, they now went over $5. So you're taking 18 cents off. How can it go up 25 cents?
Well, because gas as a product is based on international, supply and demand mechanisms. So don't get me wrong. Whatever each state can do to lower the price of gas, and I personally said the moment it was even proposed, I thought it was a great idea. Because again, anything is better than nothing. But on the federal level, you didn't hear any proposal about Joe Biden, right? And I believe that 1/3 of everybody's gas bill, right, in America, is based on federal taxation.
Well, is he blaming Putin for this? I mean, Is he blaming Putin for this? The high gas?
Oh, sure. He's blaming Putin. He's blaming Trump. He's blaming the congressional Republicans while he says he'll work with everybody.
Wasn't he releasing some of the U.S. reserves of oil to bring the price of oil down? I mean,
about 2-3 weeks ago, he made that announcement. And a couple of days later, he admitted in a press conference that it probably won't help dramatically.
Right, but at least the U.S. government will be getting all of this money. So they're bringing in the money from the gas that they're releasing, the gasoline, and what are they going to give it back out, or is this the money that they're going to give to another country?
You lost me with your logic. Say that.
Where is the money that the U.S. government is going to get from releasing this gasoline? They're going to make money on it, right?
What do you say? But they're not making money. I don't understand what you mean by
that.
When
they put the reserves in there, gasoline was what, $2 a gallon?
Roughly.
So what are they going to sell it at? They're not going to sell it at $2 a gallon, are they?
Well, I'm sure they're going to sell it for lesser than what the price is now.
Right.
But I'm sure, the bigger question will be, and it's no different than, we'll go back to New York and look at New York and New Jersey and look at marijuana, right? Okay. It's the same thing, right? Marijuana is now legal in the state of New Jersey, right? Congratulations, state of New Jersey. But what did they decide? They decide we're going to tax it to death. So now, guess what? They're not making any sales in New Jersey. You know why? Because it's cheaper to go back underground. The underground people haven't gone anywhere.
And has New York done it yet, or they still have it up in Albany trying to see who can get what?
Well, I received correspondence this morning from our wonderful assemblyman, which we both know, Assemblyman Jose Rivera, indicating, and I won't quote him, but I'll paraphrase him, that he indicated to me this morning that the state legislature should be done by this afternoon. He told me that, quote, I have my farm. And what he meant by that is, I am an avid proponent of legalization of marijuana, and not just today, but 35 years ago. That was actually my thesis for going for my master's degree at that time, when, of course, it was illegal. So I'm a very big proponent of that. So he wrote me this morning. He said, Anthony, get ready to open the farm. And Anthony, I got some friends that can help you sell it.
Well, you're saying that they're going to do it this afternoon?
Say that again?
You said they're going to pass it this afternoon?
He led me to believe that it might have been passed last night.
Right, it had to be, because today is June 3rd and June 2nd was the last day of session. I can't believe.
No. They could be done now, but when I received it from him this morning, the correspondence led me to believe that this morning is whatever that is the last session.
Well, I know the last day of session, they have their bags all packed and they're ready to go home.
Right. So my guess is that they might have called an emergency morning session to handle, again, whatever business they're handling. Again, the assemblyman led me to believe he was a little frustrated about it, and that he'll be back in the Bronx later this afternoon.
Well, we're going to go into his race in a little bit, because right now we're going to move into the June 28th primary, which involves governor, lieutenant governor, state controller, attorney general, assembly, and party positions. It also includes judges, but here in the Bronx, there are 5 judge positions, and there is no primary for judges, and the 5 judges who are on the slate are going to be the Democratic nominees for judges. So we'll have to wait till November to see who their opponents are on the opposing parties. As the governor's race, though, we have now a Republican primary for governor, Anthony. There are 4 people running for governor on the Republican line. There's Rob Astorino, Andrew Giuliani, Henry Wilson, and Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin is the quote-unquote party favorite because he was the only one who didn't have to go through the ballot petitioning process. But Andrew Giuliani seems to be, I'm Mr. Law and Order like my father. Now, do you have an opinion on who might win the Republican nomination, Anthony?
I think it's going to be a very interesting primary. No, I don't have a particular, neither do I have a horse in the race, neither do I see a clear favorite. I do believe, though, that the Giuliani message, for lack of a better word, is going to be the X factor in the race.
Well, all I got to say is this is not Rudy Giuliani. This is Andrew Giuliani, who hasn't served in any position, any elected office. He lives in Manhattan, and we'll see.
Yeah, but Bob, you know what you just described?
What?
Miss Alexandria Biaggi. I got my grandfather. Oh, I live in the district. Oh, I was doing the same thing. What happened? Dang, she won, right? Well, it looks like it might happen again.
Well, you're right, because she came to the east side of the Bronx saying, oh, my grandfather represented it. And since the east side of the Bronx had a lot of Italians in there, they said, oh, yes, we remember your grandfather. We'll vote for you. And then you know what? And I'll quote Mr. Al D'Angelo, the president of the Morris Park Community Association. She came around when she was running for office, and we never saw her again. Okay, and you got what you voted for. And to this day, he's still crying about Alessandra Biaggi.
Well, this is why talking about the Republican governor's race, I think that's why, again, I can't pick a winner at the moment.
Well, here in the Bronx, we have the Bronx Republican Party going with Lee Zeldin, and we have a strong independent contender, Gene DeFrancis, who you know, he ran for assembly here in the 80th Assembly District 2 years ago, which your club endorsed. He is backing Andrew Giuliani, and he thinks Mr. Giuliani will win. So that's what's happening here in the Bronx and with the Republican governor's race. We'll see. Are you still with us, Anthony? It looks like you froze up a little. Well, all right, let me continue without Anthony since he froze up. We're going to go up. There you go. You're back.
What happened?
No, you froze up for a minute.
Oh, is that my side? It looked like it was on your side. Okay.
That was your side. Let's go into the Democratic governor's race. All right, we have Kathy Hochul running as the quote-unquote incumbent, even though she wasn't elected governor. We have Jumaane Williams, who is the public advocate here in New York City, running against her, and he ran against her and almost beat her for lieutenant governor last year. And then we have Tom Suozzi running. He's a Long Island congressman. Now, last night, Anthony, was a debate on New York 1 for governor, and they invited all three candidates, but for some reason, Kathy Hochul decided, I'm not going to go to the New York 1 debate. And Jumaane Williams was excellent. Tom Suozzi even surprised me. He was very good during the debate. And to one of the questions that they were asked, they seemed to really get together and beat up on Kathy Hochul. And the reporter or the moderator said, gee, have you guys talked before this? Because it seems like you guys teamed up against Kathy Hochul. Now, I can only say, unless she gave them the questions, they wouldn't know what it is. And as a moderator, I moderated the 14th congressional race that propelled Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez into Congress. And no, I didn't give these people the questions. So when I asked the questions, and it was showed because when Annabelle Palmer was there representing Congressman Joe Crowley, who was the incumbent, she wanted to talk about her council, background. But I had to say, you're not in the council anymore, former Councilwoman Palmer. You're here to represent Joe Crowley and let us know what he's doing in Congress. And, well, I mean, it was almost like dead air after that. She could not say anything that Joe did really. And, Alessandra, even in her opening, she said, oh, look, he sent somebody who looks like me. I mean, you couldn't have had a worse debate for the congressman. And that's probably why he lost. And that's why I say our debate from the Parkchester Times propelled Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez into Congress. She picked up a lot more publicity after that. I received calls from.
Oh my God! What was the question? What was the original question again?
No, it was just the candidates. Now, who do you think is going to be the next governor? Will it be Kathy Hochul, Jumaane Williams, or Tom Suozzi?
Again, I think it's too early to call. I do believe it's Kathy Hochul's to lose, and the more or I should say, as the days go by, her campaign team, I have to say it that way because I don't know who's making these final decisions, are obviously messing it up for her. So it's hers to lose, but it looks like she's getting a little closer to losing it every day.
That's right. She's turning into David Patterson. If you remember David Patterson, he is the former lieutenant governor who took over when Eliot Spitzer was he quit. So David Patterson was the governor, much like Kathy Hochul is, and David Patterson knew, I can't win the governorship, so I'm just going to leave it, and that's it. And like you say, Kathy Hochul should have been at this debate last night. And the word that I'm getting is that Jumaane Williams is moving up in the polls. That he's, as the only black man in the race and from New York City, where the majority of the vote is, he is now getting, more favorability in the polls. I'm wondering where our Bronx Democratic Party is going, because during a Thanksgiving giveaway, when our state senator, Bronx Democratic Party leader Jamal Bailey, was handing out turkeys with Kathy Hochul, I said, Jamal, is this an endorsement of Kathy Hochul? Oh, no, Bob, don't go there. No. But that was when the Attorney General was in the race, Letitia James, and we all know that our Bronx Democratic Party was going to endorse Letitia James for governor. So the word is, will they endorse Jumaane Williams, or will they endorse Kathy Hochul? Or no, Bob, don't go there. No. We'll wait till after the primary. What do you think, Anthony? Who is our Bronx Democratic Party going to endorse for governor? Jumaane Williams, Tom Suozzi, or Kathy Hochul?
Well, I can't speak for Jamal Bailey, but I would like to believe that Jamal Bailey is, from a strategic point of view, not a stupid man. So I believe that he's still reserving his choice. And I will admit, I might be a little surprised if he did not support Ms. Hochul.
Well, the thing is, she didn't choose him the first time around and chose someone who had to withdraw as lieutenant governor. So again, going to what you said, her bad judgment in choosing Brian Benjamin, who is now going to be be in court with the U.S. attorney about improper things that he did. And we don't know if that's illegal or whatever. He's still innocent until proven guilty. But Kathy Hochul already proved him guilty by kicking him off a slate. So, what can we say? And this going into the lieutenant governor's race.
And not just Kathy, blame the whole state legislature because they were right behind her.
Yeah, it was amazing how they were able to change the election law so Brian Benjamin could withdraw and some new guy come in.
All because a person, as of today, according to our U.S. Constitution, is innocent.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go to lieutenant governor. And I'm going to read from the Board of Elections here. We have Anna Maria Arcola, Diana Reyna, and Antonio Delgado. Mr. Delgado is the second choice of Kathy Hochul, and he is from upstate Buffalo. And again, she bypassed our county leader, State Senator Jamal Bailey. I think Jamal Bailey would have been a much better choice than Antonio Reynoso, because now she has just a complete upstate ticket. Both the governor and lieutenant governor are from the Buffalo area. There are not enough votes up there. The majority of the votes are down here, about 60%.
I said that when she had a ticket the first time. So, again, I think, again, other little missteps, right? Misstep. As far as that particular race goes, I find it fascinating. I think Anna, and I can say this, being on the ground, has been reaching communities here in New York City, and has been looked at in a very clear way. I mean, of course, Antonio will be the political favorite of course, being attached to Kathy, et cetera. But I would not, she could be the other X factor.
All right, we have, as far as the other two positions go, there is no primary for Attorney General, and there is no primary for Controller in the state. Now we go down to the Assembly races. In the 77th Assembly District, there is no primary, so LaToya Joyner will be the Democratic nominee. I'm going to skip the 79th.
Congratulations, Ms. Joyner.
I'm going to skip the 79th. We'll come back to that because in the 80th Assembly District, Natalia Fernandez, the incumbent, has no primary because she knocked off because her opponent was knocked off the ballot. And we're going to come back to Natalia Fernandez in our second half because she is now running for state Senate. And I'm sure Anthony has much to talk about, like I do, about what she is doing there.
Bob, I will ask when we get to that segment that you give me a moment.
Okay. In the 83rd Assembly District, which is Carl Hastie's, there is no primary. In the 85th Assembly District, Kenny Burkhurst has no primary either. So let's go into the Assembly races where there are primaries. In the 78th, Jose Rivera, your good friend, Anthony. And
Bob, can we stop for a moment? You just mentioned how many races that don't have a primary for?
77. Oh, and the 79th has no primary. 83rd, and 85th. There's 4, yeah.
So, that alone.
And 87th, Anthony, there's 5.
So that should be giving signals to the broader question. We're going to come back to the individual districts, but I think the broader question is really, why is that? Is it because people are confused, they don't know where they live? Is it because the new generation is following the party line? Is it because there is no new or old generational person in that district that feels strong enough to put together a coalition? I mean, we can go back to the individual districts, but I find that to be the bigger question because you said 5, right? That's almost half of the Bronx party.
Right. We have 11 Assembly.
So I think that's really, in my humble opinion, the bigger question.
Well, we're going to, like you say, Anthony, we're going to get into that in a little bit because we have our second half where we're going to go. And
yeah, you were mentioning the 78, so we'll go back to the end.
All right. Well, let's not start with the Assembly races yet because we have a commercial break. We're at halftime right now. So let's go into our commercial break right now.
Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, and how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University.
Okay, before we get into the Assembly race, I just want to mention tonight, Councilman Rafael Salamanca, along with community activist and, how can I say this, carnival man, Freddie Perez. He's the one who supplies all the rides. And if you were at Bronx Week, he had the vendors there for the wonderful international the vendors there. And
Freddie's a good man. Hi, Freddie.
And Mayor Adams is going to be attending tonight, Anthony. So you said you might be going, and I'll be there, unfortunately.
There's only one word I got for tonight. Weather!
Well, let's see if I can get a second word from Councilman Salamanca, because since he's been elected in 2017, he's only said one word to me, and that was at the Board of Elections. He said hello when he thought I was helping him to knock off a candidate. But I got a call right before the show to tell me that I should be there and ask him because there's a rumor that Jumaane Williams is the favorite now to win the governor's race, and should Jumaane win the governor's race, that Councilman Salamanca could be running for the vacant public advocate seat. Okay, so that was what I was asked to do, and we'll see who else is there and if any other reporters show up, because I'm told there may be some other reporters there to ask Councilman Salamanca that question. But okay, let's get into the assembly races. 78th, Jose Rivera, George Alvarez, Emmanuel Martinez. Anthony, your opinion on the 78th race, because you now live in the 78th and you should be voting for the 78th Assemblyman. Anthony.
Why should I be voting for the 78th Assemblyman?
Aren't you in the 78th?
I will answer your question this way. As most people know, Northwest Bronx Democrats in existence since 2009 has done much political work on the west side areas of the 78th, the 80th, and even the 81st Assembly District. So to answer your question, I think it's a hell of a race. I think Emmanuel Martinez, who is the current chair of Community Board 7, has been getting his name known out there. Of course, the Assemblyman has been the long-term Assemblyman, probably the longest-term Assemblyman in the whole Bronx Party.
No.
I'm sorry?
No, we'll give. Don't forget, he was a councilman at one time.
Right. Well, right. But I'm talking as far as assembly person. He's been an assembly person in this district since 1992. Right.
And what I find interesting is George Alvarez ran for the 79th Assembly District where he lived. Now
and then, like you said, you got George Alvarez, and if George is watching, I'm going to give him a little bit of credit. As I know Bedford Park very well. People call me, tell me things, and I see myself where George Alvarez has been marching the troops, getting his name and recognition out there. So I do believe it's going to be a hell of a race. I also believe an ugly race because, of course, there are organizations attached to these candidates. So you are going to have little mini wars that will be starting very shortly in the Fordham Road area, the 183rd area, the Kingsbridge area. But I think it's going to be a hell of a race. I think it's Mr. Rivera's to lose. But if anyone has been looking at numbers, and I just think it's purely generational, but of course that's natural. Mr. Rivera, although being the longest term assemblyman in recent elections, has been winning on a declining rate.
That's right.
So the question becomes is how strong will Mr. Martinez and Mr. Alvarez be to offset what is still a very good rate, but a declining rate.
And as you know, Anthony, in the past, 4 or 5 elections, I said Jose Rivera was going to lose. Now, if we remember George Alvarez's race for the assembly, he had not, for some reason, there was another candidate that Mr. Alvarez's lawyers could have knocked off the ballot because of a small minor technicality in the state constitution that you had to live in the state to run for the assembly 5 years. And this man only lived here 3 years. But his lawyers never found that. And I mean, I spoke to Mr. Alvarez. I said, gee, George, didn't your lawyers pick this up? He goes, what? About this residency? It's because of these little things that George missed. And there were other things in that election that George missed. I can't see that. And I'm going to call this race for Assemblyman Jose Rivera. And this is the first time I'm going to say Jose Rivera is going to win a race. And what does that mean, Anthony? I'm putting a curse. I'm putting a curse on Jose. But let's move to the 81st Assembly District. Jeffrey Dinowitz has a challenger in Jessica Altagracia Walford.
Bob, I think the untold story, and I'm going to throw it in as a side note because I do think it's important, is that Shaniqua Charles, who was a candidate, did not make the ballot. Some people would say there were many behind the scenes moves in regards to that. I think it's unfortunate because I think she would have been a real good X factor in that race. Now I believe the X factor would be Emmanuel Martinez. I
Well,
don't
I'm
believe
sure that she'll get
Mr.
some
Alvarez
rating
is
votes.
going to have any influence in this race. Simply
Well, let's move to
because,
the
as
81st,
you
Anthony.
indicated yourself, he didn't.
Anthony, let's not dwell on each race. Let's go to the 81st. Jeffrey Dinowitz normally has at least a 25% negative rating. And George Diaz in the last race, he got, what did he get, 38% or 37%? So here we have a candidate, Ms. Walford, who is is being called the DSA candidate, because the DSA is the Democratic Socialists of America, which is Alessandra Ocasio-Cortez's group.
Here goes your question, Bob. What did Mino Laura get?
What did Mino Laura get?
What did Mino
She got
Laura get
25%.
in her progressive Riverdale race against the Riverdale establishment?
Do you want the real number or the inflated number? And I say that because of ranked choice voting. The real number was the first number, not the second number where she got inflated votes that dropped down.
Which was
the real number was about 25%.
Well, there goes your answer.
Okay. Oh, so you think Ms. Welford will get 25%?
I think that's her baseline. And then, of course, she needs to grow it from there. Will it grow? Of course it will. But not because of it. Well, because Riverdale as a district is changing. Do I believe it's going to change to the point that that 25 is going to be 50? Yeah, but not this year. Maybe in 10. But I think she'll give him a hell of a race. I believe that she'll make sure he's very transparent. I think the race will show the Ben Franklin Club, which I love very dearly. I don't know how strong they are in Riverdale.
Well, we're going to, hopefully, if we have time, go into the district leaders races, because the two past district leaders, Eric Dinowitz, who is now a councilman, is now running for district leader, and Randy Martos, the chief of staff for Assemblyman Dinowitz, also is not running for district leader. So, the downside of the slate sometimes will help the upside. So those are two incumbents that aren't running, or two people who should be running to help Jeffrey Dinowitz. Plus, when you mentioned Mino Laura, how many people were in that race? 5 or 6? Okay. Here it's one-on-one with Jeffrey Dinowitz and Mino Laura. Jeffrey Dinowitz and Jessica Walford. Okay. So it's not going to be 5 or 6 people. It's one-on-one. Into the 82nd Assembly District.
Bob, what's 25 times 6?
150.
So that's 15, right? Move the decimal, make it 15. What's 25 plus 15?
40.
That's her max. That's her max. Based on your own analysis, which I don't believe, but based on your own analysis, that's the mathematical equivalent. That one-on-one, based on the Mino Laura numbers, her max would have been 40%. Now, I'm not saying that's not important, but I don't know if Jessica brings in the 40% like Mino Laura would have if it would have been heads up. Either way, the Dinowitz days of 90% are gone.
If you want to use Mino Laura, I would use her with the Gustavo Rivera race for state senate, because Gustavo Rivera backed her. But let's move on. And in here, I think Jeffrey will pull it out. Okay, 82nd Assembly District. Incumbent Michael Benedetto has 2 challenges. Al Quattlebaum from Co-op City, and Jonathan Soto, who is running with DSA backing. Mr. Soto ran 2 years ago and really did nothing. Giulio Cemitelli, when he ran, got 18%, surprisingly. And this is Mr. 2% or 1%, Giulio Cemitelli. So Benedetto is getting really worried with this primary. Al Quattlebaum takes away the Co-op City vote from him, and Throg's Neck has become more Hispanic. So Michael Benedetto is going to have to really work this race and to get elected. I think Benedetto will win re-election. Anthony, any comment quickly?
Quickly, I believe Mr. Benedetto, it's his race to lose. His district is changing. I do disagree with some of your analysis. I think Al Quattlebaum is doing a good job in Co-op City, but I think the Bronx Party is going to rearrange that. And Jonathan Soto, I think, has a lot to prove besides just being in the media.
Well, when we look at it, just quickly, there's 50,000 people up around Co-op City Park, and there's more in the down part, about 75 to 80,000. That's why Benedetto might have the advantage. In the 84th Assembly District, we have incumbent Amanda Septimo has two challenges. One is Hector Feliciano, and the other is Albert Torres. Now, if this is the Albert Torres that I remember, he was the Bronx Democratic lawyer at one time in the past. I'm going back 20 years, if it's him. I don't know if this is the same Albert Torres or not, because it seems to be a very common name. I was with a Carlos Cortez last night. And I knew a Carlos Cortez 20 years ago who was on the school board. And this was not that same Carlos Cortez. That's why I say about Albert Torres. I feel that Ms. Septimo should have an easy time winning re-election here. What about
you? Mean Ms. Farias?
No, this is Septimo.
Oh, because you started off by saying Amanda Farias.
I did? It's Septimo.
It's Septimo?
Yeah.
Okay, just
I think she'll win re-election easily.
I think it's her
Royal, by the way.
But don't forget, what I still think is the biggest situation is not her current race, but what happened to her 2 years ago.
Right?
This is a woman that ran against somebody that wasn't supposed to be on the ballot.
Right.
And got creamed. Got creamed.
And that woman,
Amanda is
Anthony,
going in.
Woman, Carmen Arroyo, is running for district leader. So we'll see who gets more votes, Amanda Septimo or Carmen Arroyo. Let's move on to the 86th Assembly District. Newly elected Giudeca Tapia has a challenger in Pooi Stewart, P-O-O-I Stewart is her name. Now, I'm going to have to say I don't know who Miss Stewart is. I know of a different Miss Pamela Stewart Martinez. It's probably not the same person. And Giudeca is doing what I think is a nice job. She was there with the big fire in the district there that killed a lot of people, and she's right on the spot. Giudeca, I know Giudeca for many years. When I was president of District 10's President's Council, she was one of my presidents from one of the local schools on Kingsbridge Road, and she is a wonderful person. I believe she'll be reelected. Anthony.
I think also it's Miss Tapia's to lose.
And that is it for the assembly. Okay, do you want to go into district leaders or go into the the August race? You want to quickly go through district leaders?
My own opinion, because half of the assembly races, there is none. I personally think the real race that none of the media guys and gals will cover, but I think the meat is going to be the district leader races.
All right, let's quickly run through them, Anthony. In the 78th, the female district leader, Maria Gonzalez, who I believe is the incumbent, is running against Jasmine. What is Jasmine's last name, Anthony?
You have it there.
Okay. Clavesaquin Cruz and Altagracia Soldavala. Altagracia was Sammy Ravella's treasurer. Okay, so we have to believe that Sammy Ravella is putting his hands into this race. This one, I can't tell, Anthony. You got a choice there?
Well, you just hit the nail on the head, Like I said, there's going to be many mini wars in the 78th Assembly District, and I think that one is too close to call.
On the male side, male district leader, we have the incumbent Angel Santana Jr. running against Francisco Spies de Leon. And any choice there, Anthony?
Francisco's been running for office now for the last couple of years. He's been trying hard. He wants to be a community leader. I wish him the best of luck every day. I think Angel, it's his race unless something changes otherwise. Okay,
next we go to the 81st Assembly District, where I said that Randy Martos is not running. We have Abigail Martin running. She ran for the council last year against Assemblyman Dinowitz. Councilman Dinowitz. I'm sorry, I get my Dinowitzes mixed up. We have Sarah Liss and Carolyn Smith. Now, I don't know who the Ben Franklin Club candidate is. Do you know, Anthony?
Not officially.
All right.
But again, let's not forget that they did have a candidate, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did have a candidate that shockingly is no longer on the ballot. I believe her name was Miss Helen Morick.
Correct, Helen Morick, right. I don't know how she could be knocked off because the rest of the part of the slate stayed on. So
unless she decided to withdraw herself.
Right. Well, on the male side, William White is being challenged by.
Well, let's go back to the wait, Bob. Let's go back to the female side. So again, I think that is a clear, it's a take-em race.
Right, and William Weiss is running against Mr. Singh. Again, there are two new.
Wait. Who is Bill running against?
Ramdat Singh.
Oh, okay. I believe that's the gentleman that's working hand in hand with Mr. Christian Amato. Am I correct?
Correct. I believe so.
I think, Bill is a long-standing member of the Ben Franklin Club, of course.
Former chief of staff to Elliot
Engel. I think it's his to lose, but again, I think it's going to be a tight race because Ben Franklin has not shown me any strength this electoral.
Okay. Again, the 84th is one of the races that, districts where we have, in the female district leader, we have Sonia Taylor running against Yolanda Garcia and Carmen Arroyo. So we have two celebrities in there. And no, I'm kidding you. It's not the Yolanda Garcia that used to call the balls on the New York State Lottery. It's Yolanda Garcia from, I believe, the old Nostradamus. If you know what Nostradamus was, it was a community organization that blocked a certain project that would have, a certain big project that former borough president Freddie Ferrer wanted while he was running for mayor. And because that project was blocked, he did not get favor citywide with unions, and he did not win the race for mayor.
Yolanda Garcia is running for that position. She's been longstanding in politics, running for different positions. She comes, from Nostradamus. She also comes from the Richard Soto organization. I would not be surprised if Richard put her on the ballot. She ran for judgeship maybe 5-6 years ago. So she's a perennial candidate.
All right. And on the male side, there are 4 candidates: Oswald Dennis, James Dickett, Charles Sierra Gonzalez, Hector Feliciano. I don't know. I can't give you a guess. I'm sure you don't have a guess who's going to win there.
Who do you say the first one was?
Oswald Dennis. That looks like, yes, the Reverend.
That's the man.
Okay. In the 87th, there is only one more race, the 87th male district leader, where you have William Rivera challenging incumbent Justin Westbrook Lowry. Now, William Rivera has the backing of State Senator Louis Sepulveda and a few other people. Justin Westbrook Lowry is the incumbent who is with the Assemblywoman Carinas Reyes. However, Carinas Reyes doesn't have a race. And this could be the race that Westbrook Lowry loses. William Rivera is well known as the Community Board 9 district leader. He ran for the city council race, just lost to Amanda Farias. He's well known in the district. Justin Westbrook Lowry, while he's the district leader, Anthony, I think William Rivera is going to win that one. How about you?
Who is county backing?
Well, county is probably backing Justin Westbrook Lowry.
That's going to be a hell of a race.
Okay, now let's move into we're not going to go fully into the August races until the ballots are set. We have some candidates for Congress, some for state Senate, and we have about 5 minutes left. I want to talk about one particular race, the 34th state Senate race. By June 10th.
Robert, can I suggest you hold it? Because if you do, I got to say something, and we only have a few minutes, and I don't think you're going to have enough time.
No, Anthony, I want to discuss it because we have a situation where we have an assemblywoman who doesn't have a primary, okay? The Senate district, the 34th Senate district was cut in half, basically. You have the part of the old 33rd Senate district with the Riverdale part of the 34th Senate district being called the 33rd Senate District. The east side of the district, which was Frogs Neck, it was Pelham Bay, City Island, and up into Westchester. That district has been changed since they took out the west side of the district, which included your area. They put in up to New Rochelle. There are up to about 30 to 40,000 people from New Rochelle. We don't know exactly how many are voter eligible. And the Parkchester Castle Hill area was also put into the district that wasn't into the district. So this is actually a brand new district. We have
That's true.
We have now Mr. Christian Amato, because he got petitions for the 34th State Senate District. And he said, well, I'm not going to run against the two candidates. One is county running there, Miss Camilo, and he doesn't want to run against the incumbent, Gustavo Rivera. Okay, so he said, I'll run in the 34th. It's 5 blocks from my house. I'm known in the area. I'm a member of Community Board 11. All right, and I'm a community activist. We also have Pamela Stewart Martinez, who is running in the 32nd Senate District against Louis Sepulveda. But with this new district line, she now falls into the 34th, and she's running for the 34th Assembly District. Now people can still run and collect petitions. There are people collecting petitions. Mr. James Grisandi is collecting petitions. He was on the Irene Estrada slate and got thrown off. He didn't have enough signatures, so they gave him a second chance to run for state senate. Mr. John Perez is collecting signatures, and he has told me he has met the threshold, well over the threshold. He will be sending in his petition. And we have Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez, who has decided, well, I wanted to run for the original 34th State Senate District. County picked Migliano Camilo. I was very angry. Now I have a second chance to run for the 34th State Senate District. And she did. I believe there's a picture I sent our producer that if we can put it up of Ms. Fernandez. All right. And she has declared her candidacy for the 34th.
Bob, I would suggest, since we're running very, very quickly, that we have a part 2 to this conversation.
Next week.
That way you can show all of the pictures you want. I do have a statement that I want to make in regards to this before we go deeper.
Well,
So
Anthony.
again, I strongly recommend, we wish everybody a good night, and that's it.
Well, no, Anthony, we're not. We still have a few minutes left. Okay.
All right, I got it. Okay. All right, then you got to allow me a statement before we go.
There's going to be no statement by you, Anthony. Don't
Well,
worry.
there has to be a statement, see, and that's what I'm saying. As a co-host, I got to make a statement.
Let me just say,
the
Anthony,
reason why I'm not going to comment on
not the photo you think of, Anthony.
The reason why I'm not going to comment on this race is because, and I want to put it out there for everybody to know, our organization does not support her in any capacity. And join us next week, because Bob Press is not going to have enough time to cover this, and I'll be glad to share with you the 100 reasons why Northwest Bronx Democrats does not support her, including her taking our president to a restaurant and threatening her. Okay, so again, I'm going to be nice and say to you now, and for next week's show, when you talk about this district, I'm not going to say a word, because trust me when I tell you, we have nothing good to say about the current assemblywoman that thinks she can win a district of which she obviously, as you say it best, is a brand new district.
Yeah, and she doesn't know it. Okay, but Anthony, the picture I have is her at the Van Ness Memorial Day celebration. It's not the picture that you think, that Anthony and I were both warned not to show, and Anthony can elaborate on that next week. You didn't
clean it up, Bob. Bob, I got a message from you. You said during the week, I finally cleaned up that picture. That's not the one?
No, this is the one. This is out in the street in public, Anthony. Okay?
Bob.
Not the one that you have, Anthony. In the
back. 20 years ago in WWE land, Jerry Lawler called them puppies.
Oh, Anthony.
You couldn't crop that?
Anthony.
Bob, you're doing such a bad job.
I'm not going there, Anthony.
You promised the audience
I'm going to say,
Anthony, you don't deliver. You said you had these photos and then you had to clean them up. Come on, Bob. You haven't learned to clean them up. It's been like 7 months. Come on, Bob.
We're running out of time, Anthony.
Oh, now we're running out of time. I hear you, Bob.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a great Friday. Monday, Friday at 5 o'clock, so you can see how wonderful your 401k plan is doing, even though Joe Biden is going to tell you everything is fine.
We're going to delve into this a little further, like Anthony says, next week. But let me just say my piece as we end this show. I am appalled that my assemblywoman, Natalia Fernandez, yes, I live in the 80th Assembly District, around the corner from her office and 2 blocks from the Bronx Democratic County office. It appears that there's a deal between Bronx Democratic Party and Natalia Fernandez, because Natalia Fernandez is running, and should she become the senator, Mr. Remy Salas, who will by default become the district leader, I'm told, will be put in as the candidate for assembly. What happens is, if Natalia Fernandez wins the state senate race, the committee of vacancies then puts in the person. We saw this when former DA Robert Johnson was running for district attorney. Then he was nominated for judge. The committee of vacancies, which was the Bronx Democratic Party, then put in Darcel Clark. Not to say that Darcel Clark is not doing good. She's doing a terrific job, much better than Robert Johnson did. No offense, Bob. But this is what's going to happen. They select people that the public can't. And had I known this, I might have run for assembly against Natalia Fernandez. The original slate was going to be Sammy Ravello running for assembly, myself, a male district leader, and Irene Estrada, a female district leader. But Sammy Ravello decided, I don't want to run for assembly. I want to go for male district leader. And I let him do it. I withdrew from the race, and I became a member of the. You
just woke up the female district leader, Miss Sandra Pabon, who I see is on our show. Welcome, Sandra. You just woke her up.
Yes, she's the female district leader by default, also because.
Right, so she's saying, and I'm quoting her. She said, "Put who? Remy." That's her. Those are her words.
Oh well, then she must be mad that she's not getting it.
Well, she's a female district leader, but you're okay, I hear you.
I mean, so
it sounds like she's obviously not even aware of the plan.
Well, that I can't help that, But Anthony, we're at the end of our show, so let me say goodbye to our viewers and watch us next week for the continuation of this part 2. And thank you for watching, and have a good day.
प्यारी है कभी जो बादल बारिश है क्योंकि तुम ही हो हाविस्ते है मैं हूँ ये आसो ये आता आसो ये आता आसो ये आता we go marry inshallah आसो ये आता आसो ये आता आसो ये आता we go marry inshallah आज मेरा सफर शुरू हुआ है मैं नहीं जानता कहाँ प्यार मुझे ले जा रहा है बांसंगे बुबा आमा सुचिया ना रेवा कहो ना प्यारी है कभी जो बादल बारिश है क्योंकि तुम ही हो हाविस्ते है मैं.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.